So not long ago, earlier this year, I shared a story about a personal experience that I had as a product leader that really brought into focus for me one of my perennial challenges with the role. And the story seemed to resonate with some of you. And you can imagine how honored I was to be asked to come and share that story with you here today. I am a volunteer coordinator's dream. I say yes to organizing an army of helpers to run school events. I call parents for school donations. I call voters to pass local ballot measures. I sign up to help with classroom projects. I bring lunch on teacher appreciation days. And more than once, my husband has had to talk me out of coaching my son's Little League team. I try to be as good as I can be. Anybody else? Yeah? Yep, thought so. But it doesn't stop there. Sheryl Sandberg would be horrified to learn that I frequently take on the office housework. I take the notes in the leadership meetings. I make sure that the teams follow through on action items because no one's more popular than the office nag. I once organized and promoted a big recruiting event instead of our CTO to fill gaps on the engineering team. Many women in business find themselves going above and beyond their core role just to be seen as competent. We are such good girls. I say yes because I have a lifelong battle with good girl syndrome. I want to be helpful. I want to support the team. I want to be liked. And frankly, I'm wired to get shit done. It's a curse for many women and often at odds with what it takes to be successful in our roles. Product leaders know that to be effective means saying no a lot. But saying no this often, for me, calls into question whether I'm still a good girl. That is a great idea, but I don't see how that actually aligns with any of our goals for this year. And yeah, I know you have a customer who will sign an agreement with us if we will only build that completely custom project for them. But sorry, no. And no, your customer's isolated feature request is not going to be in this sprint. Lots and lots of no's. And I hate to admit it, but until the moment that I posted this article earlier this year, I had been reluctant to write publicly about my experiences leading product for fear that I might upset former colleagues by sharing some of the stories, or that even using the phrase good girl might offend other women. Are you offended? Thank you. But I overcame that good girl syndrome to share the story about why and how I abandoned my need to be a good girl so that I can be a better product leader. And so here's the story. Not long ago, I joined a company to lead their product teams, and those product teams historically had focused on feasibility and output. They were most valued when their projects delivered on time and on budget. Does this sound familiar to any of you? Well, for me, I joined because I was excited to transform these teams into value creators, not just for the benefit of the company, but for the benefit of the people in these product roles. And it was time for me to take my third pilot team through the actual process of putting into practice modern product management habits. This time, it was with our partners in the supply chain organization. My stakeholders were eager for positive changes from the product team, but if I'm being honest, it was probably because they wanted faster, cheaper delivery. I was eager to forge a new path to create real business impact and be a partner, a good girl partner. So when I asked my supply chain counterpart what his most pressing need was, he said that his goal was solely to reduce the time that it takes to onboard a new shipping carrier by integrating with the transportation management system. The goal sounded reasonable and measurable enough. And notice how he even specified the solution for me. Wasn't that helpful? Yet, I soon discovered that his goal and the supporting evidence for it was suspect at best. So, I needed to probe further. Why exactly did we need this transportation management system? And so when I asked the supply chain team, I got a variety of answers. I heard, well, it will help us reduce delivery times. We'll get our products to customers faster. We'll be able to integrate with new local carriers when we expand into new countries. We'll be able to now offer overnight shipping, and we'll get new customers. And it'll help us reduce our customer support costs. So there were many beliefs, many assumptions. And so we settled on this value statement. We believe we can reduce costs and improve data availability with the TMS integration. Okay? So I turned each of those beliefs into a hypothesis because I needed to understand exactly which costs would diminish due to this magical TMS integration. I mean, it might as well be a TPS report. But I created simple models with placeholder data to demonstrate both to my product and engineering teams and to my stakeholders how these beliefs can actually turn into success metrics. And it was really important that we could all see the assumptions we were making that would need to be true for these cost savings to be realized and the data availability to be improved, as the team felt that it would. So I asked, so would the customer support costs decrease because there were fewer calls checking in on the status of an order, or because the call times are shorter because that data is so much more available? Would we no longer have returned shipping costs for returned items, and that's how we would save money? Would our shipping costs go down because we had more carriers to choose from, and therefore the prices get more competitive? Just exactly what were the costs that are supposed to go down based on this integration? So with each new hypothesis, I created another tab in my beloved Google spreadsheets. And so I could actually see, okay, here's the potential value, here's the hypothesis, here's the potential value. And I sincerely hoped that one of these would shine through to be this obvious validation for what my stakeholders believed was a significant priority. Meanwhile, my product and engineering leads were investigating the feasibility. They were talking to potential integration partners and our third-party fulfillment centers, and the effort side of the equation was growing. Well, being relatively new to the organization, I enlisted the help of a trusted female friend in our strategic analysis group who had experience working with the supply chain organization and the customer support organization. And I said, can you look at these estimates and help me replace this fake data with real data and talk to me about what you think are reasonable assumptions? And so she and I dug into the data, and we struggled to see anything more than a modest improvement on the cost side. Meanwhile, the feasibility investigation continued, and through these discussions, we learned that it would take many months and cost hundreds of thousands of dollars because, of course, the third-party fulfillment centers and our TPS potential partners had existing commitments, and they would need to augment staff if they wanted to meet our timeline. And every week, because I believe in three things, I believe in transparency, I believe in truth, and I believe in math, and every week, we did discovery progress demos, and every week, my stakeholder partner was too busy to attend. So a few weeks later, our discovery was complete. We had done interviews with our supply chain and customer support teams, and of course had support from the strategic analysis group. We had done interviews with other e-commerce companies to understand what their practical experience and benefits were by integrating TMS systems. We had models to assess the potential business value, and we'd even done diagrams to figure out how our processes would change post-integration. Now, my stakeholders were used to holding the product teams accountable for timelines and budget estimates, and they were growing impatient. And they said, we need to have a status update meeting. My team was understandably nervous because they were trying to reconcile their past delivery mindset with this new insight about the questionable value of their stakeholders' #1 objective. Of course, they were happy to let me deliver that status update. And so you can imagine, we're in the conference room, and there was the COO, there was the SVP and VP of supply chain, there was my strategic analysis partner, there was me, and my product and engineering leads. And the SVP of supply chain, and this is a direct quote, Agro opened the meeting by saying, I'm sick of discovery, it's time to start delivering. Now, good girl Hope was a little bit hurt. but Badass Woman Hope came to her rescue. And I said, the reason that we invest this time in discovery is to figure out if we're even building anything that matters. I gave credit to my friends in the strategic analysis group for all their help, making sure that the data and our assumptions was, in fact, valid. And I pulled up on the big screen each of the hypotheses and the supporting evidence that we had found through our effort in discovery. And I invited, in the spirit of collaboration and shared goals and shared outcomes, do you want to change any of the data or any of the assumptions? Did we miss something? But nobody had any new data to add. So instead, the supply chain leaders preferred to divert the attention to the feasibility side of the equation. And they said, exactly how much is it going to cost? How long is it going to take? And of course, there was no good news there. Hundreds of thousands of dollars, many, many months. And so what do you think they wanted to do? Any guesses? Keep going anyway. Yes, of course. So I said, look, I can't, in good conscience, support this sizable investment in something that I don't believe will make any difference to our business. So we were at a standstill. The COO, wisely, said, look, I don't think we should rush into signing up with a TMS vendor until we actually think it can deliver incremental value to the company. So we left that meeting with an agreement to test a new hypothesis, which was, can we, or how much incremental revenue will we gain if we can, in fact, deliver our products to customers through overnight shipping? And by the way, it was a subscription product where we could control whenever we sent out the product. But anyway, regardless, I was still ecstatic because before my arrival, my team had rarely been successful pushing back on their stakeholder requests. And so we felt empowered to continue our discovery practice. Look, in product, there is a lot of emphasis to always be shipping. But when the effort to do so and the risk of being wrong is so high, I have got to suppress my desire to be a good girl and just say no. Because I get shit done, but I refuse to waste my time working on actual shit. As a product leader, I have to stand up and hold tight to the shit umbrella. I carry this umbrella to protect my team's ability to focus on their customers and create value. I carry this umbrella to help my companies succeed with limited resources. I carry this umbrella so that stakeholders and product teams can align on their assumptions and share goals. I have had to carry this umbrella many, many times in my career in product, and each time it gets a little lighter to carry. Look, being good and being nice feels totally natural to me, but the pain of the opportunity cost and creating waste is a hell of a lot stronger than my desire to be liked. And maybe it feels just a little good to be bad. Thank you.